Despite it once being seen as a guaranteed path to success, college has now become one of the internet's favorite targets for criticism. With the cost of living and the price of tuition skyrocketing every year, the public has a growing perception that formal education may no longer be worth pursuing. But what if I told you that 88% of millionaires all have one thing in common? They all graduated college. As someone who grew up in a trailer park raised by a single mom, trust me when I say that college can completely change your life trajectory if you use it correctly. For me personally, I went to the cheapest college I could find so that I could graduate with the least amount of debt possible. A degree is a degree. You don't need to go to the best, most expensive school in your state. State universities can cost upwards of $50,000 a year to attend. Unless you got a pocket full of daddy's money, I don't suggest going there. Throughout high school, I knew damn well I didn't want to get stuck working in retail or fast food. I had to figure out a way to get my income to 6 figures fast. So I kept my head down in high school and got a 4.0 GPA, which earned me the scholarships that paid for the majority of my college tuition. I managed to graduate with a little under 10 grand in student loan debt and found a job immediately. My wage started out pretty mid, but within 1 year, I had doubled my income by working off shifts and overtime. My debts got paid off quickly and I was able to move into an apartment paying all of my living expenses completely on my own at 22 years old. And even afterwards, I still had money left over to invest, work on passion projects, buy a nice car, and take vacations. While I watched everyone on the internet complain about how useless college was, I sat in my Mercedes, parked at my 2-story apartment gym, and thought about how grateful I was to have the opportunity to be educated. College is not a scam. See, before I graduated, I had spent 2 years making $7.50 an hour at a sneaker store. If I had dropped out and stayed at that job, I would still be living at home with my mom in a car that breaks down every other week with absolutely no hope for a better future. Not to sound dramatic, but college saved my life. So it makes me sad to see the amount of people who take it for granted. It may not be the answer to everybody's problems, but I know what a positive impact a college degree has had on my life. I am miles ahead of where I would have been had I decided not to go. And seeing all of the pessimism online demonizing college, in my opinion, just isn't called for. We should not be discouraging our youth from pursuing higher education. College graduates are statistically healthier, happier, and more prosperous than their counterparts. Plus, oddly enough, they're more likely to get married and stay married. College Riz? There's an autobiography I read in high school called The Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass. It recounts his experiences as a slave trying to teach himself how to read and write. Using a lump of chalk on a brick wall in the dead of night, he would practice carving the alphabet in secret. When he would be sent out to run errands, he would trade his piece of bread for a reading lesson from young boys on the street. It took him 7 years to learn how to read and write. So when you find yourself resenting your college professors for assigning you a 10-page essay over the weekend, remember that there are people who would trade their only piece of bread to be in your position. It amazes me that just a few decades ago, people met their classes with excitement and gratitude to learn more about the world that they live in, but these days, we scroll on our phones in the back of class, impatiently waiting for the bell to ring. When blessings like an education become normalized, people lose perspective on just how lucky they are to have it. I get it, you're working 2 jobs, can barely afford rent, and student loans are a bitch, but spending your entire life making $7 an hour at a shoe store is objectively worse. It's not just bad because you'll be broke. It's because when you fail to fulfill the potential you know you have, it crushes your spirit. When you fail to capitalize on the incredible luck you had to be born in a country where anyone can become anything, your soul has to carry that weight. That nagging thought lives in the back of your head that everything was at your fingertips, but you were too indifferent to reach out and grab it. I'm not saying everyone's life purpose is to go to college, but please don't let strangers on the internet convince you that it's a waste of time. If you choose your degree strategically, the debt and the hardship is well worth the investment. And let me be very clear that there are a ton of degrees that are not worth that investment. People are right to call out certain degrees as being a complete scam. You can start a business and make art without going 100 grand in debt for an art or a business degree. Those degrees are extremely unlikely to ever give you a significant return on your investment. I'm not talking about hobby degrees. I'm talking about degrees with a guaranteed return on investment, typically something in the STEM category. What I love most about the concept of success is how normal people like you and I seem to completely misunderstand how it's obtained. We think wealthy people just got lucky or happen to know the right person. Most people will attribute success with chance. That's why I chose to start this video out with that statistic about millionaires. Almost 90% of millionaires are college graduates. That can't just be a coincidence. If you're like me, you grew up being told that wealthy people did something extraordinary or wildly different different to earn their wealth. But if that's the case, then why did 90% of millionaires decide to do something so ordinary? There's nothing rare about graduating college, just like there's nothing special about maxing out a Roth IRA every year. These things aren't unique or uncommon. You don't need to find that one lucky product or make that one viral video or meet that one special connection. The truth is, it's not luck that gets most millionaires their status. It's taking small, calculated, normal actions consistently for years. If you invest $19 a day starting at 25 years old, you will be a millionaire in 35 years. At a 7.5% yearly return, you would come out with a milli despite the fact that you only invested $250,000. You can quadruple your investment by doing zero work. It's nothing astonishing, but for less than 20 bucks a day, I'd say that's a pretty decent return. That's the strange thing about wealth. Anyone can do it, it's just that most people don't. Yeah, I know I could be a millionaire, but a $6 Starbucks coffee and a $13 sandwich for lunch sounds better today. I grew up in a fatherless home. Statistically, I was twice as likely to drop out of high school, half as likely to go to college, twice as likely to self-delete. The list goes on. Statistically speaking, I should not be where I'm at today. But with a good plan and a lot of grit, I was able to turn my situation around. So you can sit on the sidelines whining about how unfair the education system is, or you could change your perspective and instead imagine a plan for how you could use the opportunities in front of you to completely change your life. I'm not saying it comes without sacrifices. I'm only saying those sacrifices may turn out to be well worth it.
Why do you think college is a scam?
Half of this audience, if you get a job, will get a job that doesn't require a college degree. 41% of kids that enter college will not graduate.
Okay, so we threw out that 41% statistic to make it sound like college is unfavorable, but let's actually look at that number. It's true that about 40% of students won't graduate, but it's a 4-year process. There's bound to be people that give up along the way. I would hardly say that's the fault of the college, but instead the fault of the student. When a student joins college, they sign up with the understanding that they have to complete the 4 years in order to obtain the degree. They're not being scammed, they just didn't finish. So the 41% statistic, in my opinion, is pretty irrelevant. But let's compare that 40% dropout rate to an alternative. Starting a business, for instance. 50% of businesses fail within the first 5 years. 70% fail within the first 10 years. So even if you did use that 40% dropout rate, your odds are still better than starting your own business. Let's try another one. What about making a living off of YouTube? Well, less than 1% of channels will ever make enough money to meet the US poverty line of $12,000 a year. So comparing a 60% chance to a 1% chance, now I'm not a mathematician, but it seems like the odds of college are still better.
And the vast majority of kids, 60 to 70% that go to college, I believe study things that are completely worthless, meaningless, and don't enrich society at all.
Is that the fault of the student or the college?
Let's talk about the institution
The
itself.
student.
So everyone in the audience here, how many of you have had to take classes that are a waste of time that you wish you didn't have to take, that are a waste of money, and that every single hand goes up? Look around, look around, look around.
Okay,
No, look.
hold on. So we asked the audience to raise their hand if they've ever taken a class that they didn't want to take. And of course, everyone put their hands up. Duh. Bro, nobody wants to take calculus. It's just a part of the curriculum. Ask a fast food employee if he ever has to do things that he doesn't want to do for his paycheck. Every damn day, bitch. He's trying to make it seem like a dunk, like, oh, look, everyone's raising their hand, everyone agrees with me. But it's not the flex that you think it is. Of course, people have to do things that they don't want to do in order to get to an end result.
Look around. No, look around. They're scamming every kid in this audience.
They're not scamming them.
They are forcing them to take classes that make them poorer, that take up their time in order to get the credential. That is an institutional scam.
Institutional scam. All of these kids signed up for this.
By the way, every other part of life is all about your own customization. Your Netflix account, how you get your burrito bowl, from how you dress, your Amazon cart is you are in charge. Bro,
Comparing your college curriculum to a burrito bowl in an Amazon cart is absolutely diabolic.
but you come to college and they say you must go take these 3, 4, 5 classes that are very expensive, especially for you out-of-state students, to go further into debt, study things that don't matter, to find jobs that don't exist. That sounds like a scam.
And you sign up for it. It would only be a scam if they didn't tell you this beforehand. This dude came up a lot whenever I was watching college's scam video. Let's see what else he has to say.
College being traditional four-year college.
Of course.
University, not community college or technical college.
Of course.
A scam, if we can agree on a definition, is where a majority of people who will go through the institution or business, they're not getting their money's worth, their time's worth, and they're being deceived when they sign up. So do we agree on those terms?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
So he defines the scam as the majority of people who pay won't get what they paid for. And I would agree with him on this definition if he was referring to a product. For example, if I go online and purchase a cake and whenever it arrives it's a brownie, I've been scammed. But college doesn't work that way. You have to meet certain criteria in order to obtain the degree that you paid for at the end. It's a merit-based system that requires time and effort in order to complete. Let's say you hire a fitness coach to lose 20 pounds, but you lose motivation, you don't feel like doing it anymore, so you stop halfway through. You've only lost 10 pounds instead of your end goal of 20. Would you call the trainer a scammer? No, the trainer didn't scam you, you scammed yourself. You paid a fee in return for a service, you got the service, but you stopped the service before reaching the end result. College is the exact same way. You pay for classes for several years in order to get a degree. If halfway through you decide it's not for you and drop out, that doesn't mean you were scammed, you just didn't make it to the finish line.
Unless you're going to be a doctor, a lawyer, or an accountant, college is a total waste of time. I'm sorry, all the college people and highly educated people with really expensive pieces of paper on your wall. The truth of the matter is there's only 3 people in my life that I care that have a college education, or college at all. A doctor, a lawyer, or an accountant. At the end of the day,
He definitely left out some important people like nurses and engineers, but he has a point. If you're going to college because you want to have a higher paying job, then you shouldn't really be going for creative fields like graphic design or film or art because they don't make a lot of money. And if your goal is to come out and get a higher paying job, then that's not going to be the best decision for you. But if you don't mind not making a lot of money, if that's not a priority for you, then it's worth it to pursue your passion.
we have supercomputers in our pockets. Like my son literally has learned Photoshop and videography through YouTube, and
I'm glad he mentioned that because people ask me all the time how I learned how to edit my videos. 100% by just watching YouTube tutorials. For me personally, I didn't go to college for something that I was over the moon passionate about. I went for something that I knew would be stable and lucrative so that I could fund my hobbies and lifestyle outside of work. Because of my college degree, I get to spend a few $100s a month on a one-on-one boxing coach. I have the time to make YouTube videos. I have the time to make artwork. I went to college so that I could have the time and money to invest in the things that I'm actually passionate about. What most people would tell me when I was younger was that since I had so many creative interests that I should go to school for art or be an English major or go to film school. And honest to God, if I was rich, I would 100% go back to college just for fun because I genuinely love all of that stuff. But here's the thing. I knew that I didn't need an art degree to make art. I didn't need a film degree to make YouTube videos. You don't need an English degree to be a writer. You can start now. And even if I had gotten a degree in one of those fields, I knew a lucrative career was not guaranteed. And I wasn't about to gamble my future on that. At the end of the day, I'm glad I made the decisions that I did. Because regardless of whether or not my passions ever make me money, I know that I always have a stable career.
Like, I have a full-blown political science degree. I don't even know what the 3 branches of government are. Now, granted, I did barely graduate because I literally never went to class, but I graduated, and I have the plaque, and I'm doing just fine. I got a big girl job, I'm making that.
Now, I really don't know how people get away with this because I remember in college literally having my head stuck in a textbook 24/7, constantly stressing about passing my exams. College was honestly some of the hardest years of my life.
Like, I'm good.
College is not a scam. You literally just sat up here and told us that for 4 years you didn't apply yourself and you didn't go to class. So I'm pretty sure you didn't have any internships, any mentor, or any opportunities when you graduated. Now you're sitting on this app and telling us it's a scam. No, you scammed yourself
100%.
because you paid thousands of dollars to not go to class, to skip class.
That does not make any sense. I don't know how people got away with that. Let's look at the comment section here. Someone commented, Professor Take, you get out of something what you put into it. Applies across the board. Being lazy catches up to you one way or another. If you half-ass your way through all of your assignments, you're gonna end up half-assing all of your life and get mediocre results. This video actually seemed to start a little bit of beef. Someone else commented, dissing majors is distasteful, close-minded, and dated take. She actually responded to this in a video, so let's watch that one.
If you are taking out loans to go to college, make sure that you're going to be able to get money back out with that degree.
That's what I'm saying.
Nobody wants to struggle, and nobody wants to see other people struggle. This isn't spoken about enough, so I'm going to talk about it. It doesn't matter if it's distasteful or outdated. It's the truth. Some people with certain degrees are struggling to find work.
Tons.
I genuinely want to help people. I feel like when 17 and 18-year-olds are going to college and picking what degree to study, people don't talk about the harsh realities of being post-grad enough. People don't tell you that some degrees are way less lucrative than other degrees.
You need to do your research before you even sign up for your major.
When I talk about some degrees being more lucrative than others, it's never to down anyone or to make anyone feel bad or to say, ha ha, look at you, you studied this and you're struggling. It's for the younger generation. It's for people who are going into college now, trying to decide what they're going to study. And I'm all about pursuing your dreams. But when you're talking about a degree, I think you should definitely go for job stability.
It's hard to pursue your dreams when you're broke. I hate how there's this online perception how if you go to college, you're giving up on your dreams. No, I'm not. I went to college and I'm still following my dreams. You can do both simultaneously, and in fact, one is heavily funding the other.
Same people will tell you, you don't want to go to a place where for 4 years you get told what to do, where to go, how to think. What do you think a job is right out of high
100%.
school?
That is a job.
You are told when you have to work, how many hours you have to work, how many hours a week, which fluctuates, you're able to work. They can cut your hours from like 40 to 20 and they don't have to tell you anything.
100%.
Because that's just the position, that's the job
And
you
no
work
benefits
at, you know
either.
One of the biggest problems with my generation, Gen Z, is that more and more people are not pursuing college and thinking it's a scam. There's a rise in a bunch of courses such as dropshipping, SMMA, and a bunch of crypto stuff. This is
It's always those people that say college is a scam too.
typically due to the rise of influencers promoting their lavish lifestyles with like rented cars, nice apartments, and claiming that they got rich doing something, but they actually got rich selling a course. For the vast
So
majority
true.
of people, this is not sustainable, and it's actually better to just pursue the traditional college route.
He's completely right, and here's an example of exactly what he was just talking about. You're going to regret dropping out of high school and not going to college. The regret in question. And then if you click on this girl's profile, right there in the bio, all courses are on sale. She's selling a course.
Here's why I think you still need college despite what the rich people tell you on the internet. Reason number one is you're probably not as special as you think you are. Most people who got very wealthy without college did it by being extremely creative at a young age. You know, just being straight up more successful in some tech field, or maybe they were just born into the right environment. Now, if you're still weighing the decision on whether or not college is worth it, then I can nearly guarantee you you're not that special. So let's get back to reality and go to college. And that brings me to my second point. By not going to college, you've basically given up on your safety net. For example, I'm an influencer. I make a couple $100,000, more than enough to be happy, right? But I know it doesn't last forever. That's why I'm diversifying my income sources.
No, he's totally right about that. I'm sure the shelf life of the average successful YouTuber is 2 years. So even if you manage to become a successful YouTuber, even if you grind for a decade, you're gonna hit your peak for 2 years, make a little bit of money, and then you fall off. That's like the normal cycle of a YouTuber. You accomplish your dreams, that's great, but then what? You fall off after 2 years, and then what? Back to college, baby boy. Should have just done it from the beginning. Despite the fact that I didn't go to college for something that I was super passionate about, it doesn't mean that I can't still follow my passions and pursue what I really want in life. I'm using my job to fund the life that I want to live. So if you're young and you're thinking about going to college and you're not sure, please remember, college is not a scam.